Hi, business students. Well, today we're talking about business entities and starting our company. Now, when you're thinking about starting your company, there are different entities that you can set up. As a maker, someone who is in the studio, regardless of whether it's art or jewelry or whatever it is, you are someone who is creating a product that you're going to sell. And in the beginning, I know that you're going to be like me and you're going to do everything. So it's going to be a very small startup while you're learning to do your craft. You could do a corporation, but that is a huge entity and it's very cumbersome and it's like birthing a new baby. So that's probably not the best option when starting out. There's also different types of partnerships, limited liability partnerships, and those type of entities. Those are a lot easier to maneuver, but the only real reason to do a partnership is if you do have a partner. If your husband or a friend is helping you in the studio, and maybe they're going to do part of the marketing or bookkeeping or something like that, and you really did want to have a partnership set up with them, then a partnership would be the best choice. But let me recommend in the very beginning just doing a sole proprietorship. That just means it's you and you alone. You will keep your accounting based on income and expenses. It's very, very simple. So in order to do that, you would need to register first of all with the state. Now, in the printable section, I have summarized what we're discussing here. And there is a link there that goes to a general page that lists all of the states. Find your state on that list and click that link. Then that will take you directly to your state's tax guides so that you can set up your business. There are two things that you're going to want to do. First of all, you're going to want to determine what name you want for your business. Determine that. And then I would do a search for that name on the internet and see if that name pops up anywhere. You can also go to your state entities and search for that name, that business name. There is a place where you can go in there and you can put that name in. If there is another business in your state, it won't prevent you from starting a new business with that name. They will probably want you to modify it a little bit with spelling or something, but let me encourage you to do something different. It can get very confusing if you pick a name that somebody else already has and has registered. So even if you have to change the spelling a little bit to have the same name, it's probably not a good idea. So while you're brainstorming, think of several different names for your business. And then go in there to the registration section and search for those names. Then find one that is on your list that is not registered, and that should be your name. Now, I have morphed my business several times through the years, and you can do that, but it's a little cumbersome and it throws people off when you do change your branding and your business name, but it's not impossible. So try to think ahead to a name that will brand you and your product in a way that has longevity. So once you have your name, you will need to register that name with your state. And again, that link that I put on the printables will take you to a list of states. Click your state, and then you will go to the section that you'll need. And there's several things on that section, on that state page, that you can take advantage of. Once you have your name, once you've registered that name, and there may be a fee for that. It's not usually too big. It may be around $20, $25. Then, because you are a maker and you're going to be selling a product, you are going to need a sales tax ID from your state. That link should also be on that page. You will go to that link. Some states may have you come in. Some states may allow you to register online. Whatever their process, you will need to do that. Again, it's a nominal fee, $20, $25. They will set you up with the sales tax ID, and you will be responsible to file a report every single month, even if you had no sales. They want to see a report. Now, in Oklahoma, it's a very easy process. I just merely log on to the site. I go in there. It's has different fields. I just fill the fields out, and then I calculate and pay. I've set up my business account so that it will deduct the tax out of my account. So it's a very easy process here. Again, I know different states have different setups, so investigate your state and how they require that sales tax and those reports to be set up and paid. So once you've done those things, you've picked a name, you've registered that name, and you've gotten your sales tax ID. The next thing you need to do is you need to go to the bank and you need to set up a bank account. Now, when you are talking with the new account person, you're going to say, I'm a sole proprietor, which is also the same to them as a DBA. That means doing business as. So for me, when I first set up my jewelry business, my name was Dragonfly in Amber Designs. So the bank, when I went there to set that account up, I set it up as Nancy Jackson doing business as, or DBA, Dragonfly in Amber Designs. Now, it is very important that you have your own business account. It's so much easier to keep track of the money that comes in and the money that's expensed out. You'll want to only use that account for your business. At the end of the year, you can do reports on whatever software you use, or even if you just use a spreadsheet to accumulate your income and or your sales and your expenses for your CPA. It's still easier if everything is on one bank account and comes in its own bank statement. So once you've done that and you've set that up, then you are pretty well good to go. Further, you're going to, since you are a maker and you do want to sell your products, let me encourage you to get a website. Now, I know that's daunting for a lot of people, but I use Shopify. I switched to Shopify after trying several different software websites. I buy my domains through GoDaddy, but I never did like their website tonight. It was very involved in you having to customize so much. And then on top of that, you have to get what's called a merchant account to process credit cards. That was very, very expensive. Even if I didn't have a sale, I had a huge fee to pay every month. I've tried other websites as well, but through the years, I've landed on Shopify. It's $29 a month. And it does all of the merchant accounting and everything. Now, with each sale, it does take a small portion of that, but it is a small portion, and that pays for the merchant account. Rather than have to pay, $60 a month, even if I had no sales, Shopify takes a very small fee out of every transaction for that merchant account. And let me tell you, it works seamlessly. It is easy to set up. It's easy to do. A lot of makers use things like Etsy. Etsy's changed so much of its policies through the years, and it's really, really hindered new makers. It's also got policies that are strict, and if you bobble one time, you're out the door. Another thing is it inhibits you branding your material. If somebody buys a pair of earrings and their friend says, hey, where'd you get those earrings? It's likely that they're going to say, oh, I got them off of Etsy. And see, they don't even remember half the time what maker made those earrings. Yes, they can go back into their Etsy shop and look at their favorites or look at orders, but they're going to think that they got those earrings off of Etsy. They're going to say that they got those earrings off of Etsy more likely than if they got those earrings from Nancy Jackson Designs. Etsy has a huge database of makers, and you can get lost in the sea. You're going to have to promote and market your jewelry on Etsy just as hard as if you had your own website. So why not start out with your own website from the very beginning, and then you will never have to switch over later. In order to have a website, you're going to want to think about branding. You're going to want to think about a logo. You're going to want to think about your design colors. So if you have a friend that's a graphic artist, or if you just want to make a very simple initial logo or something to start you out, go ahead and do that. You can put some initials together, or you can even just write the word out in a decorative script or font. And for now, that could be your logo. That is something you can change later. Think of your colors. What kind of colors do you want people to recognize you? If you think about the phone companies, we all know who has the yellow logo. That's Sprint. The hot pink is T-Mobile. So if you think about colors that you want to consistently use, that is part of your branding, and it registers mentally with people. When they see a name and they see a color, they know the company behind it. It may seem like a small thing at this point because you're just starting out, but repetition will build those memories, those recognitions in a person's brain. So why not start as soon as possible? Once you've got a simple logo and your colors picked out, then you'll need to go onto your website, Shopify, or whatever format that you use. Just set it up simple in the beginning. There's no need to do multiple pages, multiple directions to go in. You can build that as you go. Think of your home page and what you want to put on that home page. Once you've done that, you can add products. So it's a very simple thing in Shopify. Other ones, they have different processes, but they're fairly simple. You'll just click product. You'll put a good photo on there. Do the best that you can for now. We are going to talk about photos and how to get really good photos, but do the best that you can for now. Take a photo of your product, list its price, a description, and fill in all the blanks that they have, and then go live, and you have a product to sell. So that is the basics of getting started. Another thing that I want to touch on is bookkeeping. That is an evil necessity and something that I like to streamline and keep as simple as possible because I want to be in the studio. You can start out with a spreadsheet. If you have a Windows-based platform, you can do Excel. If you have a Mac, you can use Numbers. But let me encourage you to use some type of electronic on your computer to keep it. It's very cumbersome to do it by hand. You have to do your manual calculations, and there's a lot of room for error, or at least there is with me. A spreadsheet keeps things so simple. And in the beginning, if you do use a spreadsheet, you just simply need to keep the sales that you've made. You might want to put as a descriptor who your client was. And if you use a website like Shopify, they have all that for you. They keeps all of your clients. It keeps their info from when they ordered. Another thing is you might want to keep with whatever entity that you, or whatever platform that you use, any fees that are taken out. For instance, if I sell a pair of earrings for $150 and Shopify takes $2.50 out, what I would do on my spreadsheet is I would record the entire sale at $150. I would have a column for any taxes, because we do have to pay sales tax, and Shopify and other entities will allow you to set up what sales tax is necessary for you to collect. Then if there is shipping fees, so I would have those columns, and then I would have a total column. Next, I would have a column that deducts the fees for the merchant account or any other fees for what platform you're using. Then I would have a net column, which would equal the amount that would be deposited in your account. So let's just, for not using any accurate numbers, just for an example, let's say we sold a pair of earrings for $150. And let's say Shopify took out $5. It's never that high, but let's use a good amount, round number. So then you would have the $145, but you would also have the shipping added on and the taxes added on, and that should be what is deposited into your account. Then when you have expenses, the Shopify fee is an expense. The sales tax is an expense, and anything related to that pair of earrings. So if you bought metal, which you would, if you bought anything like pickle, if you bought new tools, those are all expenses. Now with the tools, I would keep those in a separate category, in a separate column. And the reason is your CPA can put those as equipment, and he can depreciate those through the years. It's a tax thing. He would know all about it. But let me encourage you, I would probably have a category for metals or metals and stones, anything like that. I would have a category for all the other supplies like pickle and flux and anything like that, even solder and that type of stuff. Little containers, big containers, whatever it is that you use, even your charcoal blocks would go in that category. Then a category for tools. So those are at least 3 categories. That will keep it simple in the beginning, and I don't see any problem with only having those categories. Of course, you would want a category for your sales tax and a category for your shipping. So I guess in total that would be 5 categories. Now, if you want to take it a little further, I use a program called QuickBooks. QuickBooks has an online service. I never really liked that. I have other businesses I have to keep bookkeeping for. QuickBooks, though, will grow with you if you have the computer version. At some point, if you even need to hire someone, or if you wanted to pay yourself a payroll check, which takes taxes out, it can help you do that. It's easy. You take your bank statement, you put your everything in your bank statement in there. You've set up your categories, and then each month you will balance your checkbook, and then it will also create reports for your CPA. It can keep track of inventory. Of course, you have to put that inventory in there, and it will keep track of customers and that type of thing. So that is an option. There are tons of videos on YouTube about how to do QuickBooks, how to set up QuickBooks. So if that's something you're thinking about, you might just pop over there and look at a few of those tutorials first before you decide if that's what you want to do. But in the beginning, you can certainly use a spreadsheet, and you might want to do that for the first year, and then right before January of next year, you might want to get QuickBooks and get it all set up and everything, and then start a new year with QuickBooks. That might, give you some headway. There's going to be a lot of stuff to start with here in the first year of your business. So using a spreadsheet may be the simplest thing. Well, that's all we're going to talk about today, and that's a lot if you break it down. If you have any questions, don't forget to schedule our call, and we can discuss this more. You may be further into the process. You may have already registered your business name, or you may already be selling jewelry and have to backtrack and do a few of those things. You may have not ever set up to collect and report sales tax. So hopefully this is kind of a list of things that are very important that you need to do, and make sure all the boxes are checked. But please set up your call, and we'll discuss anything regarding your business that you want to discuss. And you have a good day.